to the Perdita Marcel Show. I am excited today. We have a fabulous show for you on today. We have a guest. Her name is Lydia Fernandez. She is here from the Alzheimer Association, and I am just elated to have her a part of our show today. She is going to share what Alzheimer really is, what is dementia, what are some signs, what can we do as caregivers of those that have this in our family. And there's so many that deal with this. And I want you to know there's an outlet. There's somebody that can help you. And listen, you have to just stay tuned in. You're going to be empowered. This is something that's very, very close to my heart. And I know that you're going to be tremendously empowered. And then we have our What's Cooking segment. What's Cooking is a segment of our show where we empower you with good food. What's cooking in your kitchen? Well, today we're going to talk about healthy foods, healthy heart foods, as well as brain foods. Foods that will empower your brain and help your heart and help you to live a longer and healthier life. So I want you to stay tuned in. And then if you'd like to be a part of our What's Cooking segment, make sure you go to our website. Stay connected with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Hair Galleria, 1115 Hudson Avenue. Open every morning at 8 a.m., including Sundays. Where all our remedies either buy one, get one half off, or buy one, get the second pack free. Africa's Best and Pink Smooth Touch Relaxers, $1.99. All barber supplies, 15 to 20% off. Eyelashes, 2 for $1 and $10 wigs. Chocolate hair, buy one get one half off, and clip-in Remy weave, also buy one get one half off. So come on down to the Hair Galleria.
Thank you so much for tuning back in with us. I told you today we have a great show for you. And Lydia Fernandez is here from the Alzheimer Association. Thank you so much, Lydia, for being here with me.
Thank you for having me.
I am excited to talk about the Alzheimer Association. I have personally experienced a lot with my grandmother, and she has gone on, but it is really, really important to my heart. And so tell us, what is Alzheimer?
Alzheimer's disease is a progressive condition. It's a disease of the brain. A lot of times people think of it as just something that happens to old people.
Yes.
But it's not normal aging. It does involve death of cells in the brain. People do lose their memories, and they do eventually lose the ability to function. They lose the ability to feed themselves. They lose the ability to walk. It's a really tragic kind of condition.
So it does not have an age?
No, it primarily affects people who are older than 65.
Okay.
But there are younger people who do develop the disease.
Okay. And now is dementia, is that the same as Alzheimer?
Sort of. You can think of dementia as an umbrella term.
Okay.
So Alzheimer's disease is a form of dementia. And in fact, it's the most common form of dementia.
Okay, so dementia really is Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's is dementia. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And what are the similarities?
With dementia, memory loss is very common. Dementia can also result from things such as stroke. So that's commonly called vascular dementia.
Yes.
It can result from traumatic brain injury. We've heard a lot about that with football. It can result from conditions like Parkinson's or other conditions like frontotemporal dementia. They're all characterized by loss of memory and loss of function.
Now, I've experienced it because my grandmother developed dementia. And what are, like, when you say loss of memory? Well, I was looking at the 10 signs of Alzheimer's, and I thought, okay, loss of memory, we kind of forget things. is when should you be really concerned? And what signs will you really know? Because and we talked about earlier, I forget. And I thought since I've been reading up on this, I should really practice using my brain to remember a lot of things that I really just write down. But is that a good practice?
It is absolutely a good practice. The more you can stay mentally active and socially active, the better off you are. When memory loss becomes a real problem is when it disrupts your day-to-day life.
Yes.
So maybe you have trouble putting together a recipe that you often made with no issues.
Okay.
Or you have trouble paying your bills or doing activities that you would normally do on a daily basis.
Okay. And I noticed that with my grandmother. My grandmother lived about an hour from us. And so I noticed that she was just forgetting how much money was in the bank. Well, I thought, okay, she's getting older. She was about 70 at the time. I said she's getting older. She doesn't remember quite as well. But I had not any idea about the Alzheimer's disease or dementia. I had no idea. So it took us a while. So as a caregiver of your parents or your grandparents, what things are you looking for? Memory loss? You're not especially if you're not living with them.
Right. Look for memory loss. Look for, you mentioned problems with finances.
Yes.
Not remembering how much money they have. That's also a key factor. Look for problems finding words, for example. You might forget the word for watch and try to call it a hand clock, for example.
Okay.
Things like that are very common.
Okay, that's good. And so what would you recommend? Now, are there any type of medications? Because I've remembered people talking about, well, there's medicine you can take. But then I was told, no, there isn't. So is there something that we can be given from our doctor that would help to slow down dementia or the Alzheimer?
Well, unfortunately, there aren't any medications that slow the progression of the disease.
Okay.
There are medications that will treat symptoms such as agitation and depression that can often come with dementia and Alzheimer's disease, but there's nothing that actually slows the progression of the disease.
So there is no medication that can help you with the slowing the progression or stopping it?
Correct.
And so they're doing an extensive study, I know, to really see if they can find a cure for this. And it's just such a hard disease to deal with because you are dealing with people that have been active and people that have been able to move around and work and smart people. And all of a sudden they have lost all memory.
Right. And sometimes it's not all that sudden. It can be a very gradual progression, but it's hard because you lose the person.
Yes.
In a way that you don't necessarily lose somebody with another disease.
Yes.
So you lose that person who raised you, the person you came to love, and they don't always recognize you towards the end, which it's really heartbreaking.
That is the hardest thing, I think, for me with my grandmother was that she did not know who I was.
Right.
And, and they can really cover it up because I remember asking her, do you know who I am? And she said, yes, I know you. And I said, well, who am I? And she says, you're my daughter. And I thought, oh my gosh, she does not know me, but she would pretend. So do you find that?
Yes, actually my own grandmother had dementia, and it was very similar in our family. She, toward the end, thought my mother, her daughter, was her mother.
Yes.
And she had no idea who I was, but she knew she would recognize me as somebody friendly. But she didn't know my name. Yes. She didn't realize that she had a daughter who had a daughter.
Yes.
So it's hard.
The quality of life is gone.
It can be. It really can be.
What would you all have programs and things that you suggest for our loved ones to do if they are dealing with this? What do you have that they could get into? What would you suggest?
Support groups are very important, particularly for caregivers, because this is such an isolating disease.
Yes.
There's a lot of stigma about Alzheimer's.
Yes.
And so people withdraw because they're embarrassed. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. So finding
you saying the caregivers withdraw?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of times because people don't understand a lot about the disease.
Yes.
they'll withdraw from their friends who are experiencing the disease.
Right.
Which is really unfortunate because staying socially engaged is very
They need
important.
you, huh?
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
So we have support groups
Okay.
to help people both with the diagnosis and their loved ones.
Okay.
So that's very important. We also have a variety of social activities.
Okay.
Things like art therapy, music therapy. We have a monthly tour. It's a free monthly tour of the Memorial Art Gallery.
Oh, wonderful.
That people can, it's an opportunity to do something normal.
So this keeps them social.
Exactly.
Having that socialization is important.
Exactly. And that really helps with quality of life.
Now, do you find that when people are alone or when they live alone, does it affect them? Does it start to happen a lot faster? Like if they have dementia, by them being alone and isolated, how does that affect them?
It definitely puts them at greater risk.
Okay.
Because there isn't somebody there who's looking out for them. With wandering in particular, this is a big concern. 6 out of 10 people with Alzheimer's disease will wander at some point.
Yes.
And particularly with the type of weather we've had
Yes.
recently, that can be fatal.
Yes. Wow. Oh, well, this is really, really close to my heart, and we're going to continue to talk about this some more. We're going to be right back in just a few minutes. We're going to go to our What's Cooking segment, and right after that, we'll come back with Lydia, and we'll talk more about caregiving and how you can really care for your loved ones that may be facing this disease. Well, stay tuned. Welcome to What's Cooking. This is the portion of our show that I think is so exciting. And I have Lydia here with me, and we are going to talk about healthy foods, healthy heart foods, healthy brain foods. And when you think about being healthy, you got to take care of your body in more than just one way. And so foods, what you eat is really important. So Lydia, we are going to make parfaits. And of course, we're talking about the disease, Alzheimer's and dementia. And so what are some healthy things that we should eat?
Well, when you think about eating for a healthy brain,
Yes.
think about eating for a healthy heart, because your brain has so many blood vessels
Yes.
that what's good for your heart is good for your brain.
good.
So lots of fruits and vegetables, berries, for example,
Yes.
are great, and low fat, low sodium diets,
Okay.
perfect.
Good. So that's what we have here. We have our berries, we have our granola, and I am excited about the granola. It is a complimentary of the Woodcliff Hotel and Spa, and it is their own recipe. So it is wonderful. It has oats, of course, that's healthy for you, and oats and grains are very important. Nuts are really important. It has the almonds in it, and I'm telling you, it is so good. I love good granola. And look how it looks. I mean, it's really nice and chunky. And so we're going to start making our parfaits. And so what we're going to do first is, this is our yogurt. And then we're going to add, and you can add however layering you want to do. You can do that. So we'll take our yogurt and put it in our cup. And this is just, just come on and join in, Lydia. And then you can add either your granola next or your fruit, whichever you prefer. And I just find that when you're doing your granolas and your yogurt, it's very, very filling. And then, of course, with your fruit, it's very healthy. And with the berries and your strawberries, your blackberries, and also it has blueberries in here. Yeah, so you can just add however you choose. Let's see. We're not going to be afraid if we spill a little bit. And I just want to encourage you to prepare to eat healthier. That is so important. I think that we need to all, of course, keep our weight down and watch our weight. And in order to do that, you have to prepare. So you can't just jump up in the morning and start grabbing something to eat. You have to prepare. You got to organize your life for success. So that's real important that you organize your life for success. Look at how good this looks. I'm not going to add too many layers here, but I'm telling you, just if you take your time to organize your life, it'll be a lot easier for you to really have healthy meals. healthy meals. And this granola is just absolutely, it is scrumptious. It is so good. Look. Taste this granola.
It is beautiful.
It is really good. Isn't it good?
Mm-hmm.
Has a little sugar.
Little cinnamon.
Little cinnamon in it. Mm-hmm. Very, very good. I want to encourage you to try this at home yourself. And we will have the recipe up on the screen for you. Some of the recipe, I should say. You can also go to the Woodcliff Lounge and Hotel and get some more information on this. Okay. Well, we can eat. And I'm telling you, this it looks good. So that wasn't too hard to make.
Not at all. Very simple.
See?
Very simple.
So we're going to go ahead and dig in. And I want you to know if you're looking to eat better and have a longer life, you have to eat better. And then you got to add a little exercise in there, right?
Oh, absolutely. Exercise, even walking. It's perfect.
And they say 45 minutes a day. If you can do that, or 3 days a week.
That's all you need.
Helps your heart, and it helps your mind. It gets your mind clear. I found that exercising helps your mind to be clear, helps you to function better during the day, and gets rid of a lot of stress.
Exactly. Stress management is huge.
Yes. Now, do you exercise?
Not as often as I should.
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked you that on the show.
That's all right.
I try. I do good for a little while, then I drop off.
That's
so
right. That's right.
It's still snow out here, so we want to make sure once the snow gets, melts up.
Right. Get outside.
We can get out. Yes.
Absolutely.
So get outside. Enjoy your time of really trying to live healthy, eat healthy. Make sure that you're getting some good brain foods, some healthy brain foods. And I want you to know our What's Cooking segment is we are waiting for you. We're looking for local restaurants to partner with us. If you'd like to be on the show and a part of what we're doing, we want to invite you in. Go to my website, drperditameeks.com. I'm telling you, we have some great things in store for you. We can feature you on our show and show what's cooking in your kitchen. So I want to thank Lydia for being here once again. We're getting ready to go into the part where we're going to talk about our caregiving and how we care for our loved ones and those that have signs of dementia or Alzheimer. It is a very touching subject matter for me. It's a disease that can touch anybody, and it's not necessarily hereditary, so it can touch anybody. And so I'm really excited that we're going to give you some great information. And go to my website, as I said, so that you can empower yourself. Well, we are back. We are back to talk about caregiving and how to care for your loved ones when they have Alzheimer's or developing the dementia, the disease. It is a touching disease, and it touches my heart. So, Lydia, we're going to talk about caregiving. And when we left off earlier, we talked about having that socialization. And talk a little bit more about that.
Well, it's really important to keep the mind active, even after you have a diagnosis. And it's more important for quality of life.
Yes.
When you have Alzheimer's disease, you lose a lot of things. But to be able to keep those social connections, to be with the people who make you happy, the people you love, is essential.
I said I wasn't going to cry, but just talking about my grandmother and really, give me some tissue. I remember the doctor telling us that she was not going to live and that her life wasn't going to be good. And I remember feeling like, that's not true. That's not true. But not having the knowledge and the understanding of what the disease really was, I think that's important for people. So how can we find out more about this if our parents or grandparents are going through this?
Right. Alzheimer's disease is one of those situations where you don't know how much you don't know. because there is so much to understand about the disease. So in addition to having a wealth of information on our website at alz.org,
Yes.
we also have free community classes at many of the libraries throughout Monroe County.
Okay.
They cover everything from the basics of the disease, kind of understanding what's happening in the brain, to communication strategies, which are very important.
Yes.
Understanding challenging behaviors, because once somebody has difficulty communicating, there can be difficult behaviors that they're trying to tell you something, but they don't necessarily have the words.
Right.
So understanding how to do that, how to talk about driving and when to stop driving,
Yes.
those sorts of topics.
But
we
you know,
have.
if you're not living with that loved one,
Right.
then you do not see the deterioration
Right.
of their brain, of what they're able to do or not able to do. And I remember my grandmother, you know, someone had told us that she was wandering. And she lived an hour away, and they told us that they saw her wandering across the bridge with no shoes on. So we asked her, now, Mom, we heard that you were across the bridge. And she says, do I look crazy? We thought, she said, why would you ask me that? And we thought, okay, they must have saw someone else. But that was like a year before we even knew that she really had this. I mean, in the way that we found out is because she lived an hour away. We visit her every week, basically, and she would pretty much be normal. We take her shopping, make sure she had all of her needs met. She was getting her meals from Meals on Wheels.
Okay.
And so they called us one day and said, we're unable to get her meals for 2 days. And so that's how we realized that, okay, something's really wrong. She stopped calling us as much because she'd call us every day. So she would stop. She didn't call as much. So we thought, okay, maybe she's busy or something. And it was really heartbreaking to find out that she has this and how long. We don't even know how long she had it. But eventually, you know, she moved here to Rochester with us and with my mom. And I remember myself not even wanting to really go visit her because I went every week, but I didn't want to go because she was different. She wasn't the same.
And then that's really hard, because you know, a lot of times families say with Alzheimer's disease, you lose the person twice. You lose them to the disease, and because it's a fatal disease, then they ultimately do pass on. And that's what makes it so hard, because these are vibrant people.
Yes.
And
strong
people
able to handle their life, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden they can't. And I think what has me really crying is, I said I wasn't going to cry, but I remember when the doctor started telling us, you know, that she wasn't going to live long. And I said, no, that's not true. But after she did not remember us, I said she didn't have a quality of life.
Right. Right.
I mean, she didn't remember her family, you know?
You know, you never want to lose anybody. But a lot of times families do report that after somebody passes on, they do feel relieved because the person is past their suffering.
Yes, yes. And, you know, you just don't want to see your family live like that.
No.
And so normally, I was telling you earlier, I don't normally talk about this part of it. You know, I talk about the good things about my grandmother and how we had fun and things like that. So it's really difficult for me.
Well, and those are the things to hang on to. You know, all those times when you were a kid and, you know, she would make you breakfast and you would go to church or, you know, just have an afternoon together. Yeah,
I think she's been gone for about probably 10 years. This year, just dealing with getting ready to do this show, is the first time that I've really cried about this. Because you just don't want to remember that portion. You know, it's really hard. It's a scary thing as well.
It is very scary because Alzheimer's disease doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've done with your life, whether you have a family history of this disease or not.
So is it hereditary?
It can be, but it's not necessarily.
Okay.
You know, if you have a brain, you're at risk for Alzheimer's disease. Yes. And that's really hard to deal with. You know, it's a scary, you know, I think Alzheimer's disease is only second to cancer in terms of the disease that most Americans are afraid of getting.
Yes, yes. Well, I am just really elated to have you. And I think that this information is so important to share with people because we didn't know. And you need to have that knowledge. And as your family starts to get older, your parents and your grandparents, you need to know just different signs and how you can help them better continue their life and have a healthy life.
Exactly. Be on the lookout. Pay attention to these warning signs. If you're concerned, talk to your doctor. You know, the sooner a diagnosis can be made, the sooner you can be involved in future care planning, making legal and financial arrangements. And it's really important for the person with the diagnosis to be as involved as possible because it's their life going forward.
And, you know, I remember now, well, let me ask you this. With the diagnosis, your regular doctor should be able to diagnose this?
Your regular doctor will probably give you a referral to a neurologist.
Okay.
And there's a whole battery of tests.
So you would go to a neurologist?
Typically, yes.
Okay, that's good information to know. You go to a neurologist. Your regular doctor cannot determine that.
Not necessarily. They can probably find indicators, and there are a number of tests that they can do in the office that will spur further.
But you need to know that you need to go to a neurologist. Because I think sometimes you have doctors, they don't know. They do not diagnose things properly. Doctors do get it off sometimes, you know?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes and primary care doctors are they're faced with a whole lot of things.
Right.
So going to
the doctor's office. Make sure you have a good doctor.
Yes, make sure you have a good doctor.
Get a good doctor because that's important.
Absolutely.
It is. Okay, so good. Well, very good. And I know just there's one more thing I want you to bring out before we close out in regards to women. There's a new study that you all will be kind of bringing forward, or you just brought it forward on last week. Give us a little information about that.
Well, Alzheimer's disease really is a disease for women.
Yes.
More than 2/3 of the people who are living with Alzheimer's disease are women. And women account for 60 to 70% of Alzheimer's caregivers. So we really kind of get the squeeze.
Yes.
And so it's important for us to pay attention.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you.
I just appreciate it. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry for crying. But it is just very dear to my heart. And I want you to know that you can go to our website, drperditameeks.com, and we'll have information on the Alzheimer's Foundation for you, as well as a donation button that'll come directly from them where you can actually donate. This is an area that we need to donate to. We need to support. And then there's a walk also that just talk about that real quick and then we're going to go.
Yeah, our largest fundraiser is the Walk to End Alzheimer's, and it happens in September and October.
Good. So September and October, we're going to be walking. So we will definitely join you. So we'll be recruiting to join the walk for Alzheimer's. Thank you so much.